สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. Today I'm going to make one of my absolute favorite kinds of soup, and that is tom yum pla. Tom yum, we all know tom yum, that famous lemongrass soup, and pla is fish. Now in North America, tom yum is in just about every Thai restaurant, but it's usually with shrimp or with chicken. For some reason, nobody wants to serve it with fish, but it's so good. It's light, it's refreshing, and it's super healthy, and it's one of my favorite things to eat when, you're feeling like a light meal, but still nice, strong flavor. So let's get started. So the base of a fish tom yum is, of course, fish stock. So fish stock is super easy to make, and in fact, I'm gonna make the stock and the tom yum in the same pot. So I've got here some fish bones. I'm using halibut bones because it was the only type that was available at the store, but you can use any kind of bones and any kind of fish really, depending on the flavor that you're going for. I am going to cover the fish bones with some water. Oh, and if you got fish heads, fish head tom yum is so good, and then you just leave the head in there because there's a lot of meat in the head, really tender meat in the head. So if you can get salmon head or even black cod head, oh, so good. Now, while we're waiting for that to heat up, let's look at our aromatics. So I've got some shallots that I've roughly chopped, some garlic that I've smashed, the lemongrass tops, which I've smashed, and you're going to have the tops because you're going to need the bottom for the actual tom yum. I have some cilantro stems. I don't have any more cilantro roots, but if you got the roots, throw those in. I'm adding some daikon because I still have some left from my chicken stock episode, but if you don't have this, don't worry about it. Dry chilies, which I have broiled in the oven for like 30 seconds just to get that nice toasty, smoky flavor going, and now they're super crispy so that I can break the chilies apart. Now, if you want this spicy, you want to break a lot apart. If you want it mild, just leave them whole, and then you get that chili flavor infused into the soup without the heat. So I'm just going to add these directly into the pot using mini tongs to prevent splashing on myself. Okay, so that's gonna go for about 45 minutes. Fish bones are so small that it takes way less time than chicken bones, and if there is foam, which there will be, you just spoon them out as needed. Oh, I love the smell of fish broth. So say you were being cautious and you only broke one chili. Now is the time for you to taste the broth, and if you find that you want it a little spicier, what you can do is take a little pair of scissors and snip a couple more. Alright, so now I gotta move out the bones and the daikon and basically anything that you don't want left in the soup. One thing you want to be careful with, especially if your fish bones kind of disintegrated and fell apart, is to make sure there are no bones left at the bottom of the pot. You may want to just strain everything out. Halibut bones great because they're so big and they tend to stay together even after you've simmered it. I'll turn this back on. And now I'm going to add our tom yum trinity. And if you remember from my previous tom yum video, that means some lemongrass, which I have smashed. So this is just the bottom half of the lemongrass. And also some galangal. So these are frozen slices that I always keep in my freezer. Galangal, just as a reference, if you've never worked with it before, smells like a pine forest. It's a very cooling, refreshing aroma, and no, you cannot use ginger as a substitute. I know a lot of people say that, but the flavors are so completely different that if you can't find galangal and you're making tom yum, you're better off just omitting it, because lemongrass and kaffir lime leaves alone will actually make a pretty decent tom yum. So speaking of kaffir lime leaves, I've got some which I'm just going to roughly tear just to bruise it to bring out all those flavors. And now this is going to just simmer for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, just to get the flavors out of the herbs into the broth. And then we're almost done. Smells so good right now. Now at this point, a lot of this stuff you're not gonna eat, like the galangal, the lemongrass, the kaffir lime leaves. If you feel like you want to have an easy time when you're eating, you can just pick some of them off, just so it's a little easier, but I still like to leave some in there for garnish, just so it's a visual representation of all the flavors that are in there. We're almost done. I'm going to season this first with some fish sauce, of course. It's not going to be fish soup without fish sauce. A little bit of sugar just to balance the salty and the sour, which we will add towards the end. I'm going to bring that to a boil. And now I'm gonna add the vegetables. So I always love oyster mushrooms in soups, especially tom yum. It's my favorite kind of mushroom for a soup. But if you'd like, you can add shimeji mushrooms, you can add enoki mushrooms, straw mushrooms. If you live in places where you can get straw mushrooms, is actually classic. And then I'm also gonna add tomatoes. Lots of umami. They're gonna also add sweetness, natural sweetness as they start to break down. And I like to add the fish last because if I add the fish first and then the vegetables, then I can't find the fish. And then I have to stir everything and the fish breaks if I stir everything. So make sure the fish is the last thing to go in. And I'm just using tilapia here, which is a inexpensive, widely available fish. You know that I use tilapia a lot. And notice that I season the soup before I add the fish, so that way the fish can cook in a broth that is already seasoned. So the fish itself will be a little more flavorful. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let this cook until the fish is completely done, and by the time that happens, the tomatoes will be soft, the mushrooms will be cooked, and everything will just magically finish all at the same time. Alright, so the fish is done. The tomatoes, as you can see, starting to be soft and broken down. That's perfect. I'm going to turn this off and then finish it with the most important ingredient, lime juice. Lots and lot of lime juice. And as you can see, it'll kind of magically turn the broth from clear to opaque. Look at that. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, so good. I will add a little more salt because I don't want to add any more fish sauce. I mean, like, we haven't had enough fish things in this soup already. Just needs a little kick of seasoning. So I'm gonna add salt. Finish it off before we eat with some freshly chopped cilantro. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I am so excited about this. This smells so good. I think it might be my actual favorite kind of tom yum. So I'll show you how I like to eat it, and I learned this from my mom, and that is I put some rice in the soup bowl and then I eat it like a rice soup kind of thing. So it's a complete meal. So I've got here some brown rice, which, by the way, it's brown jasmine rice, if you remember from my 5 colors of rice series, and it's perfect for soup because it doesn't mush, right? So brown rice, red rice, black rice is perfect for throwing into soup. Can't wait. A little fish, a little mushroom, a little shallots in my bite. Oh, that hit the spot. So good. So you know how seafood and lime just goes together so well? Well, this is it right here. That oceany flavor of fish matches perfectly with the lime juice, but at the same time, the broth is sweetened with that stock that we made first of all, and the tomatoes, and that little touch of sugar. It's just in such good balance. It's so comforting. So good. If you're a fan of seafood, if you love eating fish, this is an absolute must try. I don't know why Thai restaurants don't sell this stuff. I mean, this is really, really good. So the recipe, as always, is on hutthaikitchen.com. When you make it, send me a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And we've just launched our Patreon page, so if you enjoy the show and you'd like to support us, definitely check it out. And I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal.
It's amazing you're adding fish
to fish broth,
which has fish sauce in it.
Very good, very good.